Hello. Hello, I'm coming to you from Nigeria, and this is actually a spontaneous live video. So, basically, I wasn't planning on doing any video today. I was very busy doing stuff, and I had promised before I traveled that because I was going to miss the Facebook Live, being on transit to the fantastic and phenomenal Dare Summit that has just finished, that I was going to instead do a video and put it there rather than the live video. However, I didn't get to do that because as soon as I arrived, I hit the ground running. And before I left, it was manic trying to prepare. So it was really hectic. But, it's been fun. It's been a lot of learning. And it's been a real blessing to have come for the Dare Summit. The many nuggets that I picked from this summit, I'll be using for quite a while, I tell you. So one of the things is for the Facebook Live, I had promised that I would do the topic on communication, the art of communication. And the idea was, hi, Amy. The idea was to talk about communication, and feel free to connect, feel free to comment. But also, I wasn't, like I said, planning on doing a live video, but I'm doing this in my hotel room while I sit. It's dark now, and it's in Nigeria. And the reason being, I was just browsing through Facebook, and I came across my friend's video, my friend's live as well, where she was encouraging. She's going to be a speaker for my event in January on the 26th called Build Your Dream. She's going to be talking about social media. And she was giving one good tip. Hi, Yete, if you're watching this. I hope that, you know that you inspired me to do this, even though it wasn't convenient. Because it wasn't convenient because I was doing some other stuff, trying to catch up before I go back home to England. However, I thought I am just gonna go with the inspiration that I've got and do this live video. I wanted to actually chicken out instead and do a video which I would post online, but I thought I'm just gonna stick with doing a live. It doesn't matter. The reason being that the truth is, when you're spontaneous, it can create some form of hi Lade, thanks for joining me. Hopefully you can stay, but that's, thanks for joining me tonight. So I was saying that spontaneity, and I guess it's worth writing down because it's something that just clicked for me. Spontaneity can create some form of vulnerability, and many times in life, that vulnerability, overcoming your fear, requires you to have some form of vulnerability and to go on a spontaneous level to be able to overcome. So there you have it. I decided to do the video spontaneously, and that way to be able to overcome whatever fear I had or whatever worries I had that, I wouldn't go live perfectly. So I thought I'm still going to do the video as I wanted to do it and talk about, the art of communication. And I've titled it, That's Not What I Meant. And the reason I titled it that is because in the social media world, you type things now, and talking to people in real life is actually getting less and less. Sometimes, you find yourself more on social media than you're talking face to face. And many times people would say something, then they'll be like, oops, I've said that, in a physical conversation. Or they might say something and they're trying to portray a certain meaning. But as it turns out, the interpretation on the other side will be totally different from what they said. But one of the key things that is important to note is that once it is said, it cannot be unsaid. So basically, that's what writing down. If something is going to be said, it needs to be carefully thought through because once it is said, it cannot be unsaid. So that's the first thing. People don't always hear what you're saying, they hear what they want to hear, because they filter some things through their own perspective and their own understanding of what you have said. So and I coined this topic basically from the time when I was having a conversation with my husband on the phone, and he said something, and boom, I was hurt by what he said. So I said, "You gotta apologize. That wasn't nice." And he said, "No, but that's not what I meant. I said it's too late. My interpretation doesn't make it nice for me." And he said, "But I never meant to hurt you." I said, "You need to think about it very carefully, what you've just said, because that's really not something that you should have said at this time." I don't think he got it, but I think later on, when we began to have the conversations about why, he sort of gleaned that, yes, actually, maybe he shouldn't have said it, or he should have said it in a different way, and in so doing, would not have this heated argument and needing to apologize. So sometimes thinking through before we talk is important. Some of us are very good talkers, talk. And in the midst of that, you end up just spewing out, something that you didn't plan to spew out. And like I said, once it is said, it cannot be unsaid. You have to manage whatever perception has come out of it and whatever it is that the other person has interpreted it as. So the idea is, a lot of people now seek to go on stage and speak, very well polished thing, and they talk about body language, and they talk about tonality, and they talk about eye contact. And the truth is, all these things actually also matter in everyday life. They matter in everyday life. When they talk about communication, sitting in front of somebody, those things are really important, because you might be saying, for example, one of those things, you might be trying to be romantic to somebody, but your body language is not showing that, and the person is not picking those signals, and therefore would not respond in the affirmative or in the positive. How about eye contact? Again, using myself as an example, I'll be talking to my husband sometimes when in our early years of our marriage, not now. Now, it's not that important, but I think we were trying to be keeping the romance alive and struggling very, very, it was difficult because young couple and some good fights and everything else. And I was trying to always, when I tried to talk to him, I would find that he would say, "It's in the eyes." And I'll say, "What do you mean?" And he said, look at me and talk to me and look at me. Obviously he comes from the Yoruba side of Nigeria, and he would sometimes then use Yoruba. He would say, "Oju loro wa." So talk to me, and that means that it's in the eyes that the words are, or it's in the eyes that what you're trying to say will be portrayed. And so I would then look him in the eye, and we will talk. And what happens when you look people in the eye when you're talking to them, it's not just words, it becomes a connection. And you're able to connect, and sometimes they're able to see more of the emotion and what you're trying to say. And this is also important for some women as well, or even men, because a couple of years ago, I got introduced to a book called The 5 Love Languages. And for some people, it's paying attention to them and listening to them. And the way you prove that you're listening to somebody is to maintain eye contact. And automatically, they can feel the love from you because that's their love language. So it goes deeper than just words for them. And you want communication to be just like that, isn't it? So, what about body language? Body language is maybe how you sit, how you stand, and sometimes you mirror what the other person is doing and feel connected when you're talking to them. So, it's important to kind of mind your body. If your body is portraying maybe some kind of anger, but you're trying to say you're not angry with your with your voice, with your mouth, then the person is speaking something different. Now this is all hard, but in the art of trying to connect with people, because communication is there, because we're seeking to connect with people. So in the art of trying to connect with people, you find yourself needing to correct some things that would be interpreted in the wrong or in the negative way. So the other thing to talk about communication is that when you're doing something with a lot of people, it is so important that you keep people informed at all times. It's critical. I've learned that in the last couple of days, that when people don't know things, when they don't know the full story, and they miss it out. Hi, Ofune, thanks for joining me. When they don't know things that they need to know to be able to do what they need to do, when they're not, when you have not provided the right information. So communication is about providing the right information, providing the full information, and providing the information that is relevant at that point in time, and providing that information on time to be able to influence the outcomes that are going to happen. So it's important that, when you're working with people or you're doing things with people, you make sure that you're providing them, you're communicating. Communicating can be by email, communicating can be by phone, communicating these days, phone can be text, can be by video. Whatever you do is important when you're working with people. When the information is important to the next move, the next step, it's important that you communicate. Now, the other thing to say is that communication, I've said it in the beginning, leads to connection. So, especially in relationships, in marriages, for example, that's one key thing that people need to work on. People need to work on the art of talking to each other, the art of communicating. Because without being able to do that, you're not then able to connect. Communication leads to connection. Because I've told a lot of my people I meet, or women and things, about the fact that usually women tend to talk a lot. But many times, sometimes they freeze up. Hi, Solomon. And they don't talk. And because they don't say what they're feeling, they're expecting the man to be psychic. One part. Oh, I got interrupted by a call. And I got interrupted by somebody ringing my bell. I don't know why, but I couldn't answer them. So basically, where was I? I was saying that psychic, neither is the woman. So somebody's trying to reach me, and I gotta finish this video to run to her because we're supposed to go for dinner together. Anyway, I was saying that the man is not psychic, the woman is not psychic. The key to strong relationships is to realize that very fact, and to not think that or assume that somebody can interpret how you feel. You should be able to sit down, you should be able to talk about it. It's key. They are not psychic, and if you don't, I've had to say to people, did you ask him for help? You assume that he just or she is not willing to give that help and that support to you. Have you verbalized how you feel? The key there is verbalize. Verbalize how you feel. Nobody's going to be psychic to pick it up. When you verbalize how you feel, then someone is able to understand it, and from understanding it, be able to digest and interpret and make a difference with it. and lead to perhaps the outcome or an amicable agreement, and decide to also talk back to you. And important that you maintain a level of what I don't know when talking to people, when communicating feelings. Obviously, you've got to manage it in a way that when you then want to express it, it's not followed by the tonality that will put people off, put people in the defensive. That leads to then the other side where we need to manage our emotions before we verbalize what we want to, so that one, we are able to say it clearly, we're able to complete saying it, and we're able to help people understand it, and the other side is able to talk back. One key thing before I go is the fact that I sometimes do this, and I'm working on addressing that. It's when someone is trying to say something to you and then you interrupt them. It cuts the flow of the connection, because suddenly they don't feel that you're listening, but you're rushing to try to say your own point. Now, the whole purpose of listening is to understand and to be able, not necessarily to always, is to understand, to be able to provide the right answer or the right feedback to the next person. Hi, Nikki, thanks for joining me. But many people don't listen, or don't stop for the other person to finish in the eagerness to tell their own bit, or to, when you get excited and heated. But that actually cuts off communication and cuts off connection as well. So that's very important. That's something I'm learning a lot to do, to be able to listen to people with the eyes, to listen to them with my ears, and then to not interrupt when they're speaking, so that I can then be able to provide, some feedback and some answers in the right way. Hi, Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, just wanted to say, the key thing I want to say here with communication is, when you are talking, hi, thank you very much for joining me. When you are going to speak some words to people, remember, what is said can never be unsaid. Therefore, you have to think it through before you say it, because it will be taken whichever way that person has taken it, and they would use it maybe in the way that you didn't expect them to use it. So I hope that this time, like I said, I did the Facebook video very spontaneously, but the idea is that vulnerability, it creates some form of vulnerability that helps to keep overcoming fear once you do things spontaneously. So have a lovely evening. God bless and take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.